Hey, so honestly I have filmed this video multiple times, but the circumstances around the video keep changing, and it's not going to get any easier to do this, so we're just not going to do any updates on my life. We're just going to go right into the reading wrap-up for April. I read 9 books. There were a lot of LGBTQ plus books because I participated in the Pride-a-thon readathon in April several months ago. For those unfamiliar with these reading wrap-ups, because I have not made one in a while, these books are sorted by genre, not the order in which I read them. In April, I read children's literature, young adult fiction, classic literature, and some nonfiction. Let's get started with children's literature. I read one book, but I loved it. I read George by Alex Gino. George is about a trans girl who wants to play Charlotte in her school's production of Charlotte's Web, but she can't because everyone thinks she is a boy named George. This is really about a kid who fell in love with a story and a character and who wants to share that love with other people. It's a really cute story, and I loved it so much that I sent it to my niece as a birthday present because Charlotte's Web is also one of her favorite stories. Our next genre is young adult fiction. This is where I spend most of my time as a reader. I read 6 young adult fiction books. When Diplomat Rishi by Sandhya Menon is a pretty classic young adult love story. Dimple is an independent and driven coder who is super excited to go to a computer engineering program during the summer, where she meets Rishi, a hopeless romantic who is okay at engineering stuff, but is really more interested in comics and art and design. Oh, and they're engaged to be married in an arranged marriage situation, but nobody bothered to tell Dimple that before they sent her off to what she believed was an important educational opportunity where the focus would be on enriching herself in her career. When Diplomat Rishi is a cute story that kind of hits all the best notes of a romantic comedy, and I really enjoyed it. I also read Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, which is maybe the exact opposite of a cute romantic comedy. Truly Devious is a mystery novel about a true crime enthusiast, Stevie, who was recently accepted into Ellingham Academy, a boarding school in Vermont that was home to a famous kidnapping in the early 20th century. And the only clue is this infuriating poem that lists several methods of murders that was written by Truly Devious. Stevie tries to solve this cold case while also trying to adjust to her demanding new school life and escape her conservative activist parents. Relatable. When Truly Devious returns and a student dies at Ellingham Academy, Stevie tries to solve that case as well. The story is mostly about Stevie and what she's doing, but it also twists in narrative from the Ellingham kidnapping as she works to solve the mystery. The story is darker than what I'm used to, but just to be clear, that doesn't mean it's actually dark. I'm just more into the light and fluffy side of literature. It's a great mystery novel that kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time I was reading it. Back to the light and fluffy side of young adult fiction, Boy Meets Boy by David Levithan. This is a story that was published in 2005, and it's pretty remarkable because we've come so far, both in a society and our acceptance of LGBTQ plus community and people. And Boy Meets Boy is about a high school student named Paul who lives in a strange town where the cheerleaders ride motorcycles, the quarterback is also the homecoming queen, and the GSA was formed to teach straight kids to dance. Paul falls for a boy who just moved to this town, and then as he tries to maintain this new relationship, things sort of fall apart due to his various screw-ups, and it's up to him to win it back and get the relationship. This is a really great book because it imagined a future where queer kids could be loved and accepted, maybe not everywhere and by everyone, but in this place it was possible. I feel like we've moved past this vision that the book laid forth, but it was a good vision, and I'm glad that we are starting to do better by LGBTQ plus youth. And one cool thing about doing better by the LGBTQ plus youth is having more stories to choose from when we want to see ourselves represented in media. And that includes reading books centering LGBTQ plus people of color. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera is an amazing piece of speculative fiction romance thing. It centers 2 Latinx boys, one who's gay, one who's bisexual, who live in a world where they are informed by a company on the day that you are going to die, that you're going to die. And there's this whole new economy centered around catering to people on their last day, including an app that is designed to help you find a friend to spend your last day with. When Mateo Torres and Rufus Amaterio find out they are going to die, they find each other as total strangers through the app and then spend the day together on an adventure. There is obviously a lot of tension in the book, as we know the main characters are going to die, but not how or when or why. And the book really explores that tension well, and sometimes it even lets you forget that Mateo and Rufus are going to die by just making such lovable characters that you can't help but root for them and their relationship, even though you know it's doomed. I also read The Love and Lies of Ruxana Ali by Sabina Khan. This story centers around Ruxana, a Bengali Muslim lesbian who is pretty happy with who she is as a person and tries really hard to live up to her conservative parents' expectations of her. It doesn't exactly go as planned, though, when her mom walks in on her kissing her white girlfriend, which is not an ideal coming out situation. So her parents take her back to Bangladesh, blaming America for making their daughter gay, and they try to arrange a marriage for Ruxana with a suitable man, a suitable Bengali Muslim man. So Ruxana spends the book fighting for the ability to live her life the way that she wants, to continue her relationship with her girlfriend, to go back to America, and not to lose her family in the process. I really liked the book and was even able to see myself in it, as there are not often stories about queer South Asians or queer Asian Americans at all. This book also had me craving chai, which I now drink constantly, so that's great. We're going to finish talking about young adult fiction with one last story that features a gay romantic relationship, people of color, and is light and fluffy. What If It's Us is a collaboration between Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. It's a very classic romantic comedy. It's even set in New York. Two young men meet briefly but don't exchange contact information, and they work with fate or the universe to do a brief and beautiful summer romance filled with over-the-top pop culture references. Although I think Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera are excellent authors, I didn't really like What If It's Us that much. There wasn't really so much plot as there were highly engaging and interesting characters that you wanted to love. It was a fun read, but I don't think I'll be revisiting the story. Next genre, classic books. I love exploring the literary canon and finding out if there's anything actually good in it. So I continued reading the Anne of Green Gables series, and in April I finished Anne of Avonlea by Ellen Montgomery. The book starts with Anne being 16 years old and feeling all grown up as she takes over as the teacher of her old schoolhouse in Avonlea. There are also 2 new orphans in Avonlea that need to be taken care of, and romances to manipulate and meddle with, and as always, this strange chemistry with Gilbert Blythe that's just a bit unexplainable, to her, at least. The series continued to be cheerful and charming with great moments of timeless humor. I found the book delightful and a great exploration of childhood that was wonderfully managed, even though Anne is growing up. The last genre I'm going to talk about today is nonfiction. I only read one nonfiction book in April, and it was the pick for the Life's Library Book Club. We Crossed the Bridge and It Trembled, Voices from Syria, which was arranged by Wendy Perlman. I went into reading this book without knowing a ton about the Arab Spring, or the Syrian Civil War, or the ongoing refugee situation. I read and I listen to the news, but it's a complex situation, and a lot of the stories that reach me are too broad to really help me make sense of things. This changed that. The collection weaved together narratives and provided a framework that helped me understand. This collection was created by interviewing hundreds of displaced Syrians over 4 years, and it was assembled in a way that makes things impossible to forget. Some of the testimonies here are a few sentences, some are several pages, some are split up into different chapters to arrange things chronologically. The final piece is beautiful. It almost reads as poetry. What really makes the collection impactful is the specificity of the stories, knowing that every person who shared part of their life with me did so because they thought it would help people understand what they went through and what they're still going through, and I'm unbelievably grateful that this book exists. That was 9 books I read in the month of April. Wow, have I got a few videos to make to get me back on track with this series, but it was pretty cool. I actually read the sequels to 3 of the books I talked about in this video since April, so look forward to that. And honestly, I still constantly think about some of these books 8 months after I've read them, which is it's really a mark of a great book. Thanks for watching this video. There will be more soon, and if you want to see those videos, you can subscribe, watch another video of mine, or support me on Patreon. And hey, love you.